Surely we all here remember SpaceUK since he was considered the best player in history, but after that he was a hacker. But what would you think if I told you that there was a player who at the time was considered even much better than SpaceUK was considered, since he basically passed all of them? He was definitely the best undisputed player, and in fact, although many people do not believe it, he is a Hispanic player who is in fact Argentina that you surely know, since even of his most difficult achievements, it likes to have been completed, and it will tag its Bloodbath and also Plasma Pools 3, this without counting many other levels, which were also passed, even having verified double B Cropolis of the player who is also going to speak today, and as I tell you, at the time in the ancient era was considered one of the best players. It is being for the 2014-2016 season, even being considered much better than Riot and Sickly Legends of the games. Of the player I am talking to you is Blasscfb, who in fact has a YouTube account in which he has almost 70,000 subscribers. And also a Twitter account in which he has 9,000, which in fact on February 5, 2017 he put a tweet in which he put the top 11 of the demon list, and also Yataharazu, who I think at that time was the top 1 and was even a little active until 2019. And in fact he is well known for having completed, for example, levels such as New Dead Corridor, also Yatagarazu, and as I tell you, having verified double B Cropolis. But we're getting way ahead of her story. First you have to go to the beginnings of your career, the C. B started more than anything on YouTube on August 29, 2015, which in fact is very curious that it did not start like people like Guitar or for example Gile, who started by going up some level that they had created or some level a little easier, since it began with Deadlocket having been completed, which was the new level of 2.0, and this that with all the coins, and in fact it is a video with 12,000 visits, and from here it would show his great ability, since for your first video of your first demos is Deadlocket, especially at that time. He really has to have a lot of skill, and we can also see that the icon has never been changed and he always wears exactly the same one, even with the same colors. After this, he uploaded some videos such as Geometrical Dominator and also an easy demon that was very famous at that time, which was running, but none of this would compare to his ability that he would have more Unam continue to upload several videos, but it really wasn't very relevant, since more than anything he went beyond some insane demons or some other more or less difficult levels, and let's say that in that one. At that time, there were much more complicated levels, such as Bloodbath or Cat Active, that were considered top 1. But really, a level that made it stand out a lot in visits was Double B Cropolis, since its active visits with just over 400 or 300 visits, and this video from here reached 56,000, being its most viral video at that time, which in fact, as you can see here, the level is really not very complicated, but for that time it became the most complicated inside, as it says in its title, and a more or less difficult level. But the first level that was passed, which at the time was a little more complicated than everything that had been passed, was the theoretical level of February 2v2, and in fact, coincidentally, a month later, Forzaque was passed in Leon, which is currently a hard demon, and let's say that at that time, in fact, Forzaque Neon uploaded it on December 21st, 2015. For that time, it was much more complicated than it is now. Even the level was bug in the ballpark. After this era in which several hard demons and some easy demons were passed, now his time would come and it is his best. Since it went from being a channel that only went up here and there, and if demon to raise levels such as Supersonic, Wind and Lascade, and even a super mythical level that was Acropolis, and even uploaded a top video in which he said top 10 levels legendary biometric demos, that in fact something very curious is that later many of those levels would be completed. Sooner or later Blass was going to complete a stream demon, but also around this time it is worth mentioning that Ricky Blass began to make his clicks. This became a meme, that of El Tablas CFB, which many surely know since they said that those clicks sounded like cutting tacos or making tacos on a board. But hey, his first stream demon was Cataclyn, which in fact was also the cute old version most played in less than 20,000 attempts, and in fact his name appears at the end of the current version. And also after this, on April 1st, 2016, he uploaded a video called The Nerves, like when 78% and Ultimate Face were made, and 3 days later his. When the Ultimate Face was completed in only 9,000 attempts, let us remember that at that time the Ultimate Face was one of the most complicated levels of Biometry Ash, and also began to be the layout of W Cropolis, since he wanted to buff his old level that was Double V Cropolis, and a little later it would move to Acropolis than the level that Souls had done, which currently even remains a rather complicated stream demon, and by this time it was clear that Flash had a lot of skill with the wave even too. He skipped Sonic Circles, which he said was a very nerdy Sonic wife, and he also did an insane challenge called Black Challenge, and in fact it also had a lot to do with Wave. And also on July 25th, 2016, I would begin to verify W Cropolis when it was already finished and 77% was done, and a little later I would have verified Double B Cropolis being one of its most viral videos and one of its most remembered and most loved levels. He even also dueled with a person who was also considered Best Hispanic Player, since he had a duel with Souls, but in fact none of them showed their faces. They were wearing some anonymous masks, and a few days later he would start playing Bloodbath, and he got a 74 for 101.89 and also a 94. And in fact something very curious also happened here, since he made a video in which it is called The Biggest Mistake I Have Made, in which he explains that Bloodbath was played outside of stream since he started practicing it on a copyable and he passed it off live, but in fact a little later. It was played again on the same day live so that everything was consistent, and also around this time it was passed from Triale of Faith and also Falling Up, which also at this time was one of the most complicated. We can even put together Necropolis, but one of his greatest achievements would not yet have arrived, which at this time was considered the top one. By this time Brass was really considered almost the best player, but he would have to go through 2 more complicated levels in the games, and he was also definitely at this time the best player. Continuous Geometry, and on October 16, 2016, he moved to a level that even Guitar, which at that time was also one of the best, cost him too much, even passing another level, which Guillen did not pass until years later. And Guitar and Guille are among the best in Spain, since Blas went to Thanatos and even Sonic Wife, which at that time was top 1, also going artificial. They are making a lot of progress on other levels, but his latest achievement highlighted as the best biometrics player. It would be Yatarasu who passed it on February 7, 2017. This, being his greatest achievement at the time, says that this is one of the videos in which he is most proud to upload to his channel, and in fact he passed the threshold of most complicated levels in the entire history, or at least of what it was at that time. But after that he would upload a video which said I am satisfied, in which he would explain that he was satisfied with everything he had done in Geometry Dash and he was really very happy and that he was no longer going to look to pass more and more complicated levels. And your last one. Video about a level of biometrics uploaded on February 17, 2017 that was Super Hexagon. In Geometry, it is this well-known game that people like Robles played at the time, and his last video on his YouTube channel was a video in which he said inactivity, in which he explained why he had been inactive for 3 months. But unfortunately after this he would never upload videos again, and in fact something curious is that this video was uploaded on May 7, 2017 and he was 18 years old, which means that right now he is 25 years old and not. The fact that he returns to YouTube seems very close, but he is considered a gaming legend and very loved by many, although it is a little strange that they do not have so many subscribers since he only has 69,900, but in any case he is a very remembered YouTuber for everything he did and that he is loved very much. And you, what do you think of this player? Leave me in your comment what you think of the CFBY. I would like to take advantage of this moment to put the people on my Discord server here, the latest subscribers and channel members who always appear at the end of all videos, and if you would like to see the story of another YouTuber who was very hated and very criticized for his thumbnails, very clickbar, and who you surely know is Mika, I recommend you watch this video from here, and well, Adamas and gentlemen, I retire. Bye.